President Bola Tinubu has ordered the immediate dissolution of the Governing Council of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State, in response to the crisis that has engulfed the institution in recent times. A statement outlined that President Tinubu is compelled to take the action after it became clear that the council had failed in carrying out its statutory mandate of complementing the smooth functioning of the university based on the extant act in which it was set up, and in the process created an acrimonious relationship with the university's internal council members and the Senate. The statement accused the Pro-Chancellor of disregarding the extant act of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University by illegally appointing an unqualified Vice Chancellor. The dissolved Governing Council consisted of Ambassador Greg Ozumba Mbadiwe, Pro-Chancellor, Avis Oladejo member, Augustine Oyedebelu, Amiolena Osan, and General Funsho Oyeneyin retired. President Tinubu also ordered the removal of Professor Bernard Ifeanyi Odoh, the Vice Chancellor illegally appointed by the dissolved Governing Council of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and the removal of Rosemary Ifeoma Nwokike as registrar. It will be recalled that in our earlier interview, Professor Muhammad Aminu Muhammad, President Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, stated why they opposed the appointment of the Vice Chancellor.
The first issue, the first grudge we have is that we are completely sidelined because our call for training is fellowship, and fellowship is not part of that advert, which is the usual in every university where they have a medical school. So our first grudge is that we have our right has been trampled upon, and then we are completely excluded from buying for that office. To now come back to your point, to your position, it is that the advert came out even before the inauguration of the council. And when you set a rule, that rule is meant to be followed. You said somebody must have a PhD, and that person, the PhD must be 9 years, and such person should be a professor of at least 15 years. So if you are now ultimately appointing somebody who is not even a professor to that position,
not a professor?
You have broken your own rule.
Who is not a professor here?
The person that they appointed, as the VC, we have all seen the current appointed Vice Chancellor by the council. They said, sorry?
Can you tell us the person's name?
Professor Odoh.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right.
Professor Odoh.
Right. So you're saying Professor Odoh is not a professor?
The university that he claimed to be a professor, the university that he claimed to be a professor there has denied it, and we have all seen the letters.
Joining us now is Professor Bernard Odoh. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning, Ruben. How are you today?
Well, Professor Odoh, I think that the issue is as clear as daylight. Now, you just listened to the gentleman on the screen saying that you were not qualified for that position. The President of Nigeria has also dissolved the council that appointed you, purportedly, and the registrar, saying that you are ineligible for that office. The main issue is that for you to be Vice Chancellor, you must have been professor for a certain number of years. What was your rank before you applied? Were you a reader? Were you a professor? And what gave you the confidence that you were qualified? Because that's the key issue here about qualification. And I assume that the President of Nigeria, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and President of Nigeria, will have sought informed advice. Tell us that President Tinubu took a wrong decision by removing you and the entire council.
Thank you very much, Ruben, for giving me this fair hearing. First of all, I am qualified for this position. In 2015, precisely 30th of April, I was appointed a professor by the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State. In July of that same year, they called for my creative output, which I turned in. My output was sent out to 3 external assessors. 2 are still alive as I speak to you today. 1 is late. Those 3 assessors assessed me and made recommendations to the then Vice Chancellor, Professor Okeke. The recommendation of my assessors, it was on that base that I was appointed a full professor effective from 1st October 2015. Now, when this whole lies and fake news came to the surface, the then registrar, who was the registrar of the university when I was appointed, went to court, took all my record, deposed affidavit, that he was the registrar of that university when I was employed, assessed, and appointed professor. That document is now in the public domain. He deposed affidavit in High Court of Sokoto to testify that he was the registrar when I was assessed and appointed a professor. 2 out of my assessors, 1 from University of Ekpoma, 1 from Esut, they also went to court with the same report they turned in 2015. They deposed affidavit that we assessed this young man and we found him worthy to be appointed, and we recommended to the university. They even attached the letter of the appointment to do that job that time. So the issue of not being a professor is all lies. My documents are there. What some people did, which I consider being smart by half, was to go and pay somebody somewhere to remove my entire record from that university. And somebody wrote on behalf of registrar I was not a professor. The records are there. Those who assessed me are alive. The registrar of that university is still alive. The Vice Chancellor who appointed me, incidentally, is a member of our university, Nnamdi University, Oka. He still teaches here. And he did my reference letter for this job. And in that letter, he attested that I was employed under his leadership in Federal University of Gusau, and that I was assessed. So that's on that. And secondly, those who are fighting me have filed 4 suits, 3 in industrial courts, 2 in Oka, 1 in Abuja, and another lawsuit in Federal High Court, Abuja. Those matters are yet to be determined. And now the minister jumped the gun on a matter the Federal Ministry of Education is a party to. In fact, they are defendant. The court has not ruled on this matter. Our lawyer filed application challenging the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to entertain this matter because there is the judgment of Industrial High Court, Oka, on the same matter. That matter is scheduled for January for ruling. So I don't see the basics for all of this noise. You cannot hire somebody you did not employ. The visitor appointed the council, and the council followed due process to engage me and gave me a letter. He cannot remove me through a press release from an office or somebody.
Prof.
Yes, sir.
I'm not interrupting.
So this is the situation, Ruben.
Yeah, look, I understand how this thing works.
Yes,
you
sir.
are talking to somebody who understands how the university system works. I was a member of a governing council before. I was chairman of Establishments Committee. Yes, I was a member of Appointments and Promotions Committee. So I understand the terrain. I know how it works.
Yes.
But the other question is not even whether you are a professor, a reader, or not. What is the NUC minimum requirement in terms of the number of years that somebody should have been a professor before submitting his application? Did you violate that regulation that says you must have been a professor for a certain number of years? 2015 to 2023, that's just about how many years? Does that meet the requirement?
9 years, sir.
Yeah.
Let me address your concern. It absolutely meets the requirement. The council has statutory right to set a template. If you go back to the archive, University of Benin, are you with me?
I'm listening to you.
If you go back to archive, University of Benin recently appointed a vice chancellor, and their minimum requirement for a professor was 8 years. So our governing council set their template for 9 years. set the template for PhD for 15 years. And let me take you back to what the MD National Chairman was talking about PhD. Recently, there was a white paper from federal government that says, if you don't have a PhD, you will not be a member of the University Senate, which means you cannot even be vying to become chairman of Senate as a Vice Chancellor when you don't have a PhD. So NUC had severally, explicitly written that PhD and fellowship are not equivalent. And the Governing Council advised the medical doctors, approach NUC to give you a letter for the council if you think the council is not doing the right thing. So the issue of PhD has been very clear. In the University of Lagos early in the year, ASU kicked against a medical doctor who was shortlisted for interview because he had no PhD. And that advert was pulled back and the position was re-advertised. So issue of PhD is clear. It is not equivalent to fellowship. I am not NUC. I am not the federal government who issued the white paper. We have a copy of that white paper. It says, if you don't have a PhD, you cannot be a member of the Senate. So are they going to now set a rule and violate the same rule? But this whole noise is very clear. Nobody has violated any rule. And by the way, the visitor sets up this council. The council has not been invited by anybody. There is no written communication either from NUC or from the ministry asking the council to explain what has happened in Azikiwe. I have not been communicated. There is no any information anywhere. There is no panel inquiry. There is no panel investigation. All I heard yesterday was to see information on the media space say that I've been removed. I was not appointed through a press release. I was appointed by a constituted authority. And I have your letter. Okay. So I don't understand. After this interview, I'm headed to the office. Okay. I have not committed any crime. I was appointed by a procedure, and the procedure is straightforward.
Okay, Professor. Well, of course, we do know that a number of these issues are still before the courts, but you've painted a picture of conspiracy against you. I want to understand, what do you think is the motive of this? Because it seems like a very intricate conspiracy that would have had to have been put together, and now it seems that you're also, it seems you're alluding that even the presidency is involved in this conspiracy against you. Please tell me, why? Why?
Absolutely. Okay. Now let me say something that will strike you. I am from Ebonyi State. In southeastern Nigeria, we are regarded as third-class people. Now, this whole process threw me up as the first among all those who participated in this process. Let me let you know, 18 persons applied for this position. 18 of them were invited for interview. Out of the 18, 15 attended the interview. They subjected themselves to the process. I was appointed in the presence of 13 members of council out of 15. Now, some people feel that I am not qualified because I come from Ebonyi State. And all of this attack is coming from all over the place. It's unprecedented to have this kind of embarrassment because there is a council. If you think the council did not do the right thing, invite the council. By the way, the registrar of our university wrote extensive report to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education outlining the procedure the council took to appoint me. I'm sure they're not interested in the truth. It's all about gang up. People have resolved to remove me at all costs. But it's unfortunate because there is rule of law. There is a matter in Federal High Court, Abuja. The decision of the court has not been pronounced. How can a doctor who is a minister, knowing what the law says, a matter he is a party to, he is a defendant to that matter, the court of competent jurisdiction has not even ruled, and he made a judgment on his own case? I don't understand this.
Professor, you're saying that you are going to head to the office, or rather to the school today to carry out your duties. If this is a matter that is still ongoing in court, the federal government is involved, and there are a clear split with the Medical Doctors Association being against this, isn't your appearance at the office going to possibly cause a ruckus? Don't you think it's better to sit this out until the courts determine the best way forward?
Okay, Lotus, let me address your concern. As I speak with you now, we have 3 accreditation teams who arrived in the university 2 days ago. 42 of our programs are supposed to be accredited this season. Now, if you say you have sacked the council, you sacked the VC, you sacked the registrar, which means the ministry has introduced anarchy on campus. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? So it's the Federal Ministry of Education that is introducing crisis on campus, because right now, how do we run the affairs of the university? By the way, the ministry does not have power to appoint a council. It is the visitor. The ministry has no power to appoint a VC. It is a council that can appoint VC or the acting VC. And now you said there's no council. So how do you deal with this?
Okay, Prof.
I'm an alumni of this university. I had all my degrees from here.
Prof,
it pains me to sit down and watch external people destroy the place.
Prof, let's play it this way. The visitor to the university,
yes, sir,
says he has dissolved,
yes, sir,
the council, and you say you are going to the office. Are you, by any measure, by any stretch of the imagination, overruling President Bola Tinubu? That's one direct question. Because I'm not aware. No, hold on. Because I'm not aware that President Tinubu has withdrawn his directive that council should be withdrawn. You saying you are going to the office after this interview, that will be an act of affront to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's number one. Number two, you say they are playing ethnic card because you are from Ebonyi, third class category as considered by some other people. Look, it's very familiar that people will play the ethnic card anyway. Ebonyi people, I think they call them Wawa in Igbo land. So do you have any proof that it's because you are a Wawa, that's why they are ganging up against you? Because you must have evidence, as we say on this table, empirical facts.
Okay.
The empirical facts, man, is not on the table today. The empirical facts, as Rufai was saying, he will put it.
Okay, thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Ruben. Let me first address the first concern. The authority of Mr. President is sacrosanct on this matter. I am not challenging his authority. Now, I don't know whether I'm free to talk.
Yeah, certainly. You are free.
Okay, so the authority of President, yes, sir, the authority of Mr. President is sacrosanct on this. I am not challenging his authority. But I gave you a scenario that is at play. There are 3 committees of accreditation team that are on campus. What I intend to do is to go to the university and tell the DVC academics who is managing this matter, please carry on with these activities and ensure that we don't lose our accreditation. So that functions can flow smoothly. I am not disobeying Mr. President. I have not said so. But I need to go and let the university know that let our activities go on. Because there is already a crisis. There is no leadership today, as it is. There is no, if we take what they have said as being the correct position, there is no Vice Chancellor, there is no registrar, there is no governing council, which means the place is on free fall. So I need to be guided on what to do now, because first of all, like I said, I don't have any letter from governing council who appointed me or being removed from office. Now, the second one about being from Ebonyi, the news is all over the campus. If you take a tour of the campus and listen to people in very different joints, you hear it. This man is from Ebonyi State. That's why they're hunting him. When Professor Hanek was appointed VC here, he went through this same fight. In fact, he was in court until the end of his tenure. So that is my position, sir. So I need to be guided. How do we manage the university now in the absence of a governing council, absence of a vice chancellor, and absence of a registrar? How does the place function? And given the fact that it is only the governing council that has powers to appoint either a VC or an acting VC. This is the crisis we face now.
Okay, well, you've given us a plan of your immediate steps of action, but on the bigger picture, how are you going to seek redress from this? Because it seems if you're so confident in your credentials that you can possibly go through the screening process again, and you should still be able to comfortably emerge as the appointee for this position. What's your plan from here forward?
Yeah, my plan is very clear. Already, like I told you, there are five court cases, filed in the courts of competent jurisdiction, 3 in the industrial court, 1 at the Federal High Court, and another one at the industrial court in Abuja. The court will determine what is the true position of the matter before them. In terms of going back through the processes of being recruited afresh, I'm law-abiding. Whatever is the final decision on this, I will comply to it. If it requires me to apply again, I'll apply again. But I am thinking, and I suggest, that there is a law in place, and let us follow this law. Let the law take its effect. If the court says the process that brought me into position is illegal, or is unlawful, or is unconstitutional, and they remove me by so doing, then I will abide by the law of the land. But today, there is no communication from the court, no communication from anybody to me. I don't have any letter. I was appointed by a constituted authority, governing council, and they gave me a letter of appointment.
The president, through his spokesperson, said that you are unqualified. So which other process are you waiting for? Because, I mean, because there's almost an assumption that, the president might not know what he's talking about. The letter specifically used the word unqualified.
Yes. Let me guide you here. If the University Act 2007 says the visitor can remove the Vice Chancellor, but through the council. That through the council has not happened. The council will set a committee of joint council and senate. That committee will investigate me. Upon the report of the joint committee of council and senate, they will now recommend my removal to the visitor. This is the procedure. It is in the act. I already put it there. So I'm saying that maybe Mr. President may have been ill-advised. Maybe he needs to look at what the law says. The law is very clear. He can remove me, but through the guidance and advice of the council will set a joint committee of council and senate, 5 persons, and to be chaired by the council member. That joint committee will interface with me, either on issue of misconduct or being unfit to hold the office. Based on their findings, they will make recommendation to the visitor. It's upon that recommendation that I will be removed. And I am saying that procedure has not been followed. Except if he has become a lawless place, then...
okay, fine. Apart from that, so have you been in touch with the university, Federal University Gusau, who are disputing your qualifications? Have you interacted with them at all?
Yes, I did. I did a letter to the Pro Chancellor a few days ago, and I attached all my records, including the one supported by court affidavit, records from my assessor, records for the registrar that was in that university when I was employed. I did a comprehensive submission, and I said, Pro Chancellor, these are all my documents from your university. I was appointed in 2015. And now a news is flying all over the place that someone from university issued the letter that I was not a staff. The nominal roll that contains staff list, my number is 048 at that university. And I said, verify this and direct that the university do the needful, because this is not good for the reputation of both universities. I have made that communication 3 days ago. And I'm fully aware that the council met 3 days ago and directed the registrar to go and reply to my letter. And they gave him 1 week to do that. So I'm in touch with that university. And I believe they will do the proper thing. If they don't do the proper thing, then there is also procedure in law to seek redress. Because the actors who were in the office when I was appointed are all still alive. And they have testified before the court. And I have their document.
Professor, look, with all the documents that are put in place, do you feel this could have been resolved between the Ministry of Education and the governing body and the school authorities without having to have this, being superseded by the federal government? Could this have been resolved? Yeah.
Absolutely. It was never done. It was never done. The governing council, nobody ever invited them anywhere to ask them to speak their own side of the story. The council was never invited by anybody, either the ministry or NUC. NUC is there as a regulator. They never invited anybody. They never even wrote me to say, look, all of this has been said about you. Can you provide us with the facts of the matter? I don't have any letter. Nobody spoke to me. Nobody invited me anywhere.
Professor Odoh, now you once wanted to be governor of Ebonyi State. That didn't work out. You lost that battle. Now you are fighting another battle to be Vice Chancellor at Unizik. Now, you say when you leave this forum, you will go straight to the campus to assert your rights as Vice Chancellor. Has it occurred to you that for defying the constituted authority, a phrase that you have used, of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you could be arrested if you show up on that campus for act of insubordination against the same constituted authority that you quoted? What will you expect us to do as journalists when you are arrested and you are locked up by the DSS for disrespecting the authority, the constituted authority of President Tinubu? Has that occurred to you? In other words, I'm advising you, don't go there.
Yeah,
but if you want to go there, show that you are a courageous man.
Yeah, I note your advice, Ruben. I said something that is very clear, okay? I am not disrespecting Mr. President. His authority is final and explicit. I will abide by his authority. But I'm saying, first and foremost, I work in that university. I teach there. I have a duty also to encourage those who are doing accreditation today to go on with their processes. I will not work as VC if they have said they have removed me. But I have also put the fact clear today that the process required for my removal has not been followed. I don't have any query before me. I don't have any. So I'm not even aware of any issue before anywhere except the issues in court. So I've noted your advice. I'm not challenging anybody, but I've stated my own side of the story. And I want the world to hear me. The process that brought me out was a legitimate process of law, and it was followed to the letters. I have not imposed myself in the place. The Governing Council consists of 12 members, 5 external, 7 internal. If you add VC and 2 DVC, it becomes 15. On the day of my appointment, 13 members of council were there, and I was duly appointed. So if there is issues around my appointment, it is a council that will recommend my sack. I am not disobeying Mr. President, but I'm stating what is the position of the law to guide all who is involved in this process. If we set this precedent, I can bet you it will be a precedent that is going to haunt our education for a very long time to come.
Okay, I'm glad you referred to the Governing Council because, you know, of course, they've been sacked as well. In your case, you feel the conspiracy is around your ethnicity. What about all those members of the Governing Council? Are they also from Ebonyi State? Or, you know, because it's not just you alone, it's the entire Governing Council. So what do you think is the motivation for removing them?
Yeah, the motivation is very clear. If you've paid attention to all that they have said, which are all lies now, they said I wasn't qualified. I was qualified at the point of appointment. They said, all the things said are all lies. Now, the Governing Council is being punished for following a process to bring me into office. So their offense is that they have appointed me. That is the offense they have committed. And now they've been sacked, and myself have also been sacked, registrar sacked. Nobody has established before anywhere that this process were not a lawful process. This matter are all in court. The court has not said so. The procedure for my removal is also clear. That procedure has not been followed. So doesn't it show that this whole thing is gang up from all places? And I don't know the offense I have committed.
Professor, if everything, according to you, all your ducks are in a row. You have your documents, you are saying the law is on your side, you're saying that the Ministry of Education and the presidency have not acted in accordance with the law. So what's the mood of your lawyers? Are you confident that when all is said and done, the courts will rule in your favor? And if that happens, what message would that send to, I guess, the education sector and how things are run going forward, if things go in your favor?
Well, I am optimistic that things will go in my favor. And we are in a democracy, and democracy is a process. We'll continue to learn and improve on ourselves. One of the things I think this will help us achieve is to set the record straight. If you have a procedure for carrying out a function, allow the procedure to go through its breadth and width. If you have any issues against the procedure, find the redress. So I am very confident that my legal team will do a good job on this matter, which has already been done. And I feel confident that if this is resolved the way it should be resolved, the entire matter will be put to rest, so we can make progress as an institution. This whole thing is a distraction. I'm only barely 3 weeks in office, and we're doing a whole lot to reposition the place. So this is not healthy for our establishment and for our institution. I am hopeful that this entire process, if we allow the procedure of the law to take effect, it will resolve the issues, and we'll find harmony once again back on campus.
Okay, Prof. From me, final question. Now, what do you think is responsible for this? I refuse to buy your argument about it's because you are from Ebonyi State. Now, are you a made-in-Oka professor? Or could it be that there is territoriality involved where some homemade professors are saying somebody cannot bring professorship from, is it Damaturu or Gusau, and then say he wants to be Vice Chancellor in this place? And why is this fight so important to you? I mean, you can just teach and publish and be fulfilled. Why is it so important? Is it a case of, if I can be governor of Ebonyi, let me also at least get something? What is the issue?
Thank you, Ruben. First of all, the issue of professorship, Nigeria is run by law. Our universities are all regulated by NUC. Any university in Nigeria where you're a professor from, you can apply to become Vice Chancellor anywhere. The position of Vice Chancellor is not tied to any particular person from any particular place. That's why the advert usually placed on national dailies, and it runs for 6 weeks. So you can apply with your qualification from anywhere, even overseas, if you are qualified. And that was exactly what I did. So that is on the issue of application and being a professor, or being a professor from here or there. That is not the rule. The rule says if you are a professor with 9 years experience, you can apply. And I applied based on that. Then secondly, am I contesting this, since I didn't get governor, let me use this one, and the point is that even before going into politics, I was already a professor. Now, I am seeking for avenues to contribute to governance. It can take place through the government, as in the government of a state. It can take place through the established process of governing council of the university. And I have a vision for the university. Currently, we are ranked 29 among the universities in Nigeria. I have a clear vision on how to position the university to compete in at least the first 5 in 5 years. It is doable, it is achievable. And that vision is why I have applied for this position, believing strongly that if I do what I need to do, the university can become more competitive. And I don't see any crime in doing that. If any other person have applied, why not me? And I have applied because I am legitimately qualified to apply for the position. So any other sentiment has no rule in the equation. The equation is, am I qualified? The answer is yes. Did I apply? Yes. Did the council invite me for interview following their processes? Yes. Did they appoint me Vice Chancellor? Yes. So anyone who has issue against this procedure can go to court. They're in court already. The court has not even determined the matter. So that is the answer I have for the 2 questions you asked. And by the way, this is a democratic state. We have freedom of expression, freedom of right, but just ensure that your right doesn't impede the right of others. So I am qualified, I applied, and I have been appointed.
All right, and lastly, before you go, I was just reading the statement from ASU concerning your appointment, and it's quite scathing. They refer to your appointment by Ambassador Greg Mbadiwe-led governing council as dictatorial, as a repressive action, and a mockery of the academia. This sounds like quite a hostile environment. Why do you want to impose yourself on, within this environment? That is, very quickly, we just have 2 minutes left.
Divine, I have an answer to. Thank you, Divine.
Goodbye.
Another section of ASU another section of ASU in our university, yesterday held a press conference to address the concerns raised by ASU national chairman. His position was a position of someone who was not well informed. And an ASU, concerned ASU, had a press conference. I'm sure you'll be reading that press release today to address all the issues he raised. Because, first of all, there is ASU Unizik chapter. The chapter here at Nnamdi University never for once scheduled this matter in an agenda of ASU in their congresses. The Zonal Congress of ASU has never scheduled this matter in their congresses. It is now the national board that is issuing a statement without hearing from the local branch. And the concerned members of ASU have written and addressed the conference yesterday to address the concerns, that the concerns he's raising is not correct. There is no tension anywhere. The Governor Council is not dictatorial. All he has said there has been debunked by a section of ASU at Nnamdi University. You will read their press release today on that same matter. So the point is that the gang up is heavy. And I'm not imposing myself. I didn't bring myself here.
Prof.
I was appointed, and if my appointers remove me, I'll leave. They can find somebody else.
Prof.
I'm not imposing myself on anybody.
Prof, just a last word for me. And I'm sure you must be aware, having been in the university system, that certain universities can reject professorship from other universities. Ibadan, for example, University of Ibadan, University of Ife, for example, as it then was. Now, Bafemi Awolowo University. If you go and bring a professorship from Damaturu, from Benin, from Gusau, they will tell you they don't recognize that professorship. You will have to go through their process. Could this be the problem? I'm not saying so, but just a parting word for you as to how professors are appointed.
Okay,
Briefly, we've run out of time.
Yes. Now, I have also been appraised by Nnamdi University. My appraisal report are already back. So I also qualified at Nnamdi University. I've been appraised, and my appraisal is recommended. The key reason why I have applied with the appointment from Gusau is that at the time I was appointed to this moment, it's over 9 years. And there is no place in the law of the university that says if you are a professor from another place, you're not qualified. In UI, maybe they have a provision in their university law or University Act that says until you're a professor from the university, you're not qualified. Right. In our own act of our university, it is not written anywhere.
Unfortunately, our time is fast spent. Thank you so much for tying up all of these issues. And of course, we'll continue to follow the story as it develops. That's Professor Bernard Odoh.